I'm a Rainbow shopper, and I've shopped at Rainbow for probably 30 years. And it's Rainbow is a progressive store. It's come out, been anti-war before, and being for the boycott of Israeli goods is being against war. And that's what I want my health food store to be. 30 years.
As a Jew, I feel so that the position of the Israeli government against the Palestinians and the persecution and the hounding and the harassment and the loss of livelihood, loss of the olive trees is preposterous. And as a Jew, it really insults my sense of justice and my sense of wanting to protect the underdog or being on the side of the underdog, and that's a Jewish tradition. I also think that the Israeli government's attitude towards the Palestinians endangers Jews worldwide. So I support a boycott of Israeli goods, and I think that Rainbow should boycott Israeli goods. And I'm going to advocate for that and call them and become part of this team.
And I shop at Rainbow, and I believe in the boycott against Israeli goods because of the injustice of the Israeli government to the Palestinians and the Lebanese.
San Francisco. I'm a long-time vegan shopper at Rainbow Grocery, and I've been wanting them to boycott Israeli products for a long time. I support the current manifestation of the boycott. We have to divest from Israel. This is a start. Why Rainbow? Because they're supposed to be a worker-run collective. They're supposed to be the model of a progressively run food store. And they make themselves accountable on other progressive issues, but it turns out there's been some censorship of customer reaction to their refusal to go along with the boycott, and this is really unconscionable. There's been phone messages erased, I've heard, threats that people there receive against any kind of boycott have not been made public, and instead of keeping this an in-house secret, if they really want to be protected, they need to.
Zionist supporting countries have been going along with a big boycott against the Palestinians that is really like sanctions, by having sanctions against them, and it's really caused a lot of more hunger in Palestine and all that. And instead of sanctions against the Palestinians, we need to boycott Israeli goods. If you can just look, a lot of times when you get in an argument with someone who's pro-Zionist, they throw out a lot of information about history, and you don't know the history, and you don't understand its complicated situation. It's very clear to me when I see a picture of a boy throwing a rock at a tank that is state-of-the-art tank, who is the rich person and who is the poor person. That's very simple to figure out, and who is the underdog and who is the oppressed and who is the oppressor. I want to support a boycott at Rainbow Grocery. I've actually been an employee at Rainbow Grocery for 10 years now, and I strongly support, like I always have, a boycott of Israeli goods at Rainbow Grocery Incorporated in San Francisco. I
also support a boycott of Israeli goods because I feel I am Jewish myself, and with a lot of other Jewish people, we feel like the genocide that's going on by the Israeli government against Palestinian people has to stop. And a boycott is a very effective way. It's a weapon that people can use. Ordinary people can just stop buying goods made in Israel, and it's very effective. It worked with the South African apartheid, the boycott of South African goods. It helped stop apartheid South Africa. So the people around the world together with all kinds of actions, including a boycott, were effective in ending South African apartheid, and the same thing can happen to stop what's being called as one of the biggest concentration camps now is in Gaza. The horrible conditions that people are living in, their starvation, children are being shot by the Israeli Defense Forces. I mean, this has got to stop. And a boycott is a way, I believe, that we around the world can stop it. So we're asking everybody to boycott Israel.
I think that Rainbow Grocery and the shoppers of Rainbow Grocery should boycott Israeli goods, because there's no better way to get a message to the Israelis that their regime is seen as genocidal, racist, and that they are occupiers of another country. The regime is seen
And I am supporting a boycott of Israeli goods in general, and specifically at Rainbow Grocery in San Francisco. A couple of reasons that I want to talk about right now. One is that the connection between war in Iraq and in Palestine, the horrific war that just happened in Lebanon, that the common thread for those is the U.S.-Israeli aggression. And one way of us being in an accountable relationship, that we as customers are coming to Rainbow to say that we have an opinion about an action that we want them to take. And we want to be in that conversation with Rainbow as shoppers. So.
And I'm supporting the boycott of Israel goods for many reasons, but the one in particular I think is because of the pathetic abuse that Israel has heaped on the Palestinians in Gaza, especially also in the West Bank. It's incomprehensible for me as a Jew who has deep beliefs in the Passover story for the Jewish people to be as oppressive against the Palestinians as they have, with the history of freedom from bondage when on the way from Egypt to the Holy Land. In addition, I am currently working on an international peace conference, working to get an international peace conference to resolve this 58-year-old conflict. And I hope that you all will support both these efforts. Thank you.
Would I like to see Rainbow have a boycott of Israeli goods? Yes, definitely. I'm not convinced that this would be perceived in any way in Israel in terms of business that they're losing, and I'm not even convinced that this would kick off boycotts elsewhere besides Rainbow. But the one thing that it would do is it would bring to some people's attention who aren't paying attention now that there is a reason why Israeli goods should be boycotted. The reason being all of these things that Jimmy Carter is now saying in his book, and I wish everybody would get a hold of that book, because Carter is courageously laying out all the reasons, such as, why do we have settlements in the Palestine part of Israel-Palestine? What are they doing there?
It's very important as an educational tool to let people know where these products are coming from and who's benefiting. And while Israel is benefiting, they are also occupying another country and another group of people.
This is important, very important, I think, because as we face the situation in Iraq and in the Middle East, Israel is really the key, and impunity with which our government allows Israel to operate is really one of the major problems driving the Middle Eastern crisis. And the Democrats and the Republicans are equally unwilling to take any action that opposes Israeli official policy.